Madam Speaker, I rise today on behalf of the good people of Yamacraw, whose strength I rely on, and I am honored and privileged to be here as God has seen it fit to put it in their heart to trust in me and have me represent such a dynamic constituency. As the importance of Junkanoo to our way of life and identity cannot be overstated, I join in the voice and the chorus of our voices earlier that support the National Junkanoo Authority of the Bahamas, Willis George Bethel and William Wallace Bill 2025. My submission today, however, will lean more heavily on the Creative and Performing Arts School of the Bahamas Bill 2026, or CAPAS as we know it, as this is again something new, something different, something that joins the list of the many national institutions created and developed under a progressive Liberal Party government. I contribute to this bill not merely as a matter of cultural pride, though pride is certainly due, but as a matter of national development, human capital, and economic strategy. Madam Speaker, this bill asks a simple but profound question. Do we, as a modern nation, intend to treat talent as chance, or do we intend to treat talent as policy? Before entering public life, I spent many years in the classroom as a teacher of history, geography, and social studies. And later, I had the privilege of serving as a school administrator in various capacities. Those experiences shape how I view education and national development. As a teacher, one learns very quickly that talent is everywhere. It appears in the quiet student sketching in the margins of a notebook, in the student who writes poetry when asked to write an essay, in the young person who may struggle with memorizing dates in history but can perform a scene or compose a rhythm that captivates an entire room. As an administrator, as appreciated even more, that talent alone is not enough, Madam Speaker. Talent requires structure, mentorship, and institutions if it is to flourish and translate into real opportunity. That is precisely what this bill seeks to provide. For too long, we have celebrated our artists after the fact, after the song has traveled, after the dancer has departed, after the playwright has struggled, after the cultural worker has given everything and received too little credit or too little certainty to return. This bill says, let us stop relying on improvisation. Let us build institution. I repeat, this bill says, let us stop relying on improvisation and let us build institution. This bill is precisely the kind of presents precisely the kind of sector where youth can enter with skill, discipline, and confidence, if and only if the nation builds the pathway. Madam Speaker, youth unemployment remains one of the most important economic challenges facing modern economies everywhere, including our own. And this reality reinforces the importance of building diverse pathways through which young people can develop skills and enter the workforce. My experiences have taught me that every statistic, or behind every statistic, there's a student whose potential may never be realized unless we create the pathway. Madam Speaker, the point is not to romanticize the arts, because in reality, the arts are work. Creative production is work. The discipline of performance is work. Sound engineering, lighting, design, stagecraft, film production, costume design, set building, and digital content creation all represent specialized labor within modern creative economy. Indeed, Madam Speaker, the Bahamas is a service economy with a structure deeply linked to tourism development. Put plainly, our national income depends on experiences. We are living in a time of global uncertainty. Conflicts abroad disrupt supply chains, increase energy costs, and the rise of the price of imported goods are what we face. Small island economies such as ours feel these pressures quickly because we depend on international markets for many of the things we consume. In moments like this, the most resilient nations are those that strengthen the industries that allow them to create value from their own talent and creativity. The creative economy is uniquely powerful in this regard. By investing in institutions like Corpus, we are not simply supporting arts, we are strengthening our sector that allows Bahamians to generate income from the talents that already exist within our people. Visitors do not travel across the world merely to stay in a hotel room. They come for the culture, the music, the festivals, the storytelling, and the spirit of the Bahamian people. International tourism research consistently shows that visitors who participate in cultural experiences stay longer and spend more in local economies. Institutions such as Corpus therefore strengthen tourism. It strengthens tourism itself because they develop the artists, they develop the performers, and the cultural producers who create experiences that our country distinctively and economically need in order to be competitive. Madam Speaker, this is why campus is not ornamental. Campus is economic infrastructure. Now, this bill does something that good legislation must do. It turns aspiration into structure, endowments, fundraising, affiliations, and credible international collaboration, all present in the structure. The bill also makes clear that campus is not merely a training center, but a tertiary institution with the authority to assess and confer degrees, diplomas, certificates, and other approved awards, thereby giving Bahamian talent not only training, but recognized credentials that can open doors locally, regionally, and internationally. In other words, campus is not envisioned as a closed conservator for a privileged few, but as a national platform connecting education, production, and public engagement. Madam Speaker, I believe that institutions succeed or fail not on ambition alone, but on governance, and this is good governance. Therefore, the oversight of an established board of governors with strategic oversight provides institutional independence and protection from improper influence. Madam Speaker, the bill also includes explicit protections of rights. The bill also includes explicit protection of rights and non-discrimination. We know that talent is distributed widely across our islands, communities, and backgrounds. Therefore, opportunities must be distributed just as widely. Madam Speaker, at a moment when the Bahamas has recently modernized its intellectual property framework, intellectual property is national security for our creators, and this bill proposes a balanced approach between the creator and the institution. Let us consider for a moment what this bill enables for youth. It enables a young Bahamian from any island to see a pathway to training, credentials, production, and enterprise, not only for performance, but for technicians, producers, designers, managers, and creative entrepreneurs. And it anchors creative work in professional standards, contracts, licensing, crediting, and fair compensation. This bill moves campus from initiative to institution, from program to permanence. Madam Speaker, in a world saturated with content, cultural distinction becomes competitive advantage. Nations that invest in creative training export not only art, but identity and influence. And finally, Madam Speaker, I was trying to reach the 8-minute mark, but fell short 2 minutes. Finally, Madam Speaker, as someone who spent years in the classroom and helping to lead schools, I know that education is not simply about the classroom. Education is about creating systems that allow talent to grow into opportunity. Madam Speaker, as the parable of the talents teaches in Matthew 25, gifts that are invested and developed are multiplied, while those that are neglected are taken away. And in the same way, a nation that cultivates the talent of its people multiplies its own future. If we want Bahamians to own their culture and not rent it, to capture value and not merely content, to earn from their talent and not only perform from it, then we must acknowledge that this is a bill for youth, for jobs, for exports, for identity, for national confidence, and for the kind of development that cannot be imported. Madam Speaker, for these reasons, and in the interest of our youth, our culture, and our national development, Yamoussoukro fully supports this Creative and Performance Arts School of the Bahamas Bill 2026, or CAPAS as we know it. Thank you so much, and I congratulate Mr. Ian Poitier and his entire team for their excellent work. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable Member.